The controversy of overanimation.
If I had $1 for every time the anime community takes critique or discussion and pushes it into an unproductive direction, I'd have a whole lot of money. Over the years, there have been certain buzzwords that have stuck around, creating a lot of different narratives. For the longest time, mid or mediocre was a big one. A word that simply implies that something was okay, average, or mediocre, but was able to trigger a lot of people real fast when it came to their favorite series. Can't say I don't get it, but boy does the discourse never go well. Fast forward some years later, and this time we have another term that has rose up recently in terms of usage lately with overanimation. Just to put this out there now, but overanimation is not some new term, and in fact has existed for years now, more so discussed around those who partake in the animation process and really understand the motion. What really pushed the term into the spotlight within the anime community, however, is a bit of a long story, but our series in question arrives at One Piece.
Bro, like the way the animation of One Piece has gone over the years, I think they've had 3 different animation styles, maybe 4. There's the first part of the season before the time skip, right? Because there's a massive shift in animation style from the base, or I guess the beginning of the series, to the time skip. So pre-time skip and then post-time skip, the animation changed completely. And then they changed the animation again post-time skip to, I think it was the Wano arc it started. Was it Wano or was it Big Mom? I think they changed the animation style again at Wano, like at the very beginning of Wano. I don't exactly remember, but I think it was Wano. I think those were the 3 different times One Piece changed animations, and I don't understand why people are complaining. You really want to go back to the old animation? Why? Because here's the thing. We get like movie level animation when it comes to the good fight scenes now. And then just the base story and even the filler just looks clean. So I don't... Like, what is the problem?
A long time now, One Piece has been pushing the question of how...
Like, y'all want to look at some Minecraft graphics? Like, what is this?
Seasonal shows cannot so easily replicate. The Wano arc being one of the greatest times to be a One Piece fan.
Facts.
The amount of episodes
That's
that
facts.
have worthy presentations are easily in the double digits. As we are now in the Egghead arc, overanimation is a term that has been inserted into the conversation regarding the approach for these big moments. The discussion around it has gotten so loud that...
Let's read this. I've had a lot of comments on my videos about it being over animated and seen a lot on the timeline since it's aired. It's actually a lot. This one I just saw now, but I've seen a lot everywhere, sadly. People are just pissed off because it looks good, or is it... Now here's the thing. When people are talking about over animation, are we talking VFX, like visual effects? You know, like sword auras and fucking laser beams coming out from the sky? Or are we talking like just a whole lot of movement, because since Luffy is like rubber, we're just seeing like a whole lot of this? Is it just a whole lot of this? Like, what are we talking about? Is it VFX or just over movement?
Many reactors and other creators can't help but to take notice, and I'll be honest, it's a bit ridiculous. Part of me feels that this has been a long time coming due to some previous ignorant events. This is actually gonna take us back to Wano for a moment, and we're gonna look at this scene right here from animators Shinya Ohira and Akihiro Ota. Now in this scene, Luffy is pretty much revving up his Gear 5 once more, and well, it looks cool as hell. While a ton of people were absolutely floored by the power duo's depiction of the scene, a lot of rage baiters would initially accuse the scene of being AI. Now,
they're accusing Toei of using AI? Buddy, if you want to see AI animation, look at the fucking Sekiro One Defeat, was it? Look at this the Sekiro anime trailer. That bitch probably has AI. Saying One Piece has AI is crazy. Real talk. And listen, no Sekiro hate. We Sekiro fans over here, but I'm sorry. The animation in Sekiro, I mean, you could go see my video on it. I thought it looked pretty mid. I'm sorry. The art looks good, but the animation looks cheeks. And that's just me. But saying Toei uses AI, buddy, you're smoking that pipe, on God.
I know it looks bad to give rage baiters attention, but bear with me because
they ain't even trying anymore. That is such a crazy statement.
This was sparking discussion about how the One Piece anime had gotten a little crazy lately, but people did not know how they really wanted to go about explaining nor critiquing it. It always came back to the bubble of just talking about the animation, and outside of not being built for such a discussion, folks were missing that term that can really help articulate their thoughts.
Okay, real talk though, I want to say this too. If Toei was to be using AI, they doing it right, because this shit looks gas. On God. Buddy, if AI is doing this, then every anime studio should be using AI. And I know I'm spitting facts. But if it looks like Sekiro, no, I'm sorry. Again, let's go.
And so outside of sticking to the baseless ideas of AI, the controversy passed, but it would not be the last. Fast forward now to Egghead, and with
damn
the
right
recent
that
fight
shit looks
of
good.
Luffy
On
versus
God, it does.
Kizaru,
It looks
a lot
so
of
good.
people have used overanimated to describe how some of these big fights look. Naturally, the discourse grew, and then it grew some more, which in turn also gave room for people to bring up AI again.
I'm sorry, we're reading this again. Sorry, but this looks like AI to me. Again, with pleasure. If it looks like this, then with pleasure. Also, bitch, how the fuck you supposed to know this is AI animation? Because it's smooth as butter. And then next dude says, then your brain has been rotted by all these TikTok videos you've been watching. Saying an animation is AI is incredibly disrespectful to the animators, but you probably don't care since you're a kid. I don't know about that last part. That's probably a grown-ass man. Let's be real. And then bro says, sorry, but the animation is very bad and almost disgusting looking. This is a common feature of AI. What part looks bad? Bro, you could dead ass pause at any frame in most One Piece fights, right? Because that's typically where the over animation is happening. And that bitch gonna look clean. That bitch gonna look clean as hell. Whether it's my boy Luffy catching some velocity or him just bouncing on the floor. Pause, that sounds crazy. But you get what I mean. It's gonna look buttery smooth.
And because who needs integrity when you can just slander for the sake of the game? It's already bad enough mentioning AI, but to make matters worse, people really don't know how to discuss over animation.
Honestly, it's probably people that just watch the YouTube clips and not the actual anime.
But rather the fact that people on average don't do their animation homework, which leads to the creation of self-proclaimed animation.
Which anime has the most over animation? They got One Piece, JJK, Demon Slayer, and Solo Leveling. I'm sorry, saying Solo Leveling has over animation is crazy. Because like again, no hate to Solo Leveling because I love my dog Jinwoo Sung, but bro, like it's more. I feel like it was more choreography, how the fuck choreography? Chad, am I saying it right? Choreography. The shit, you know, like they're more piecing up the fight together than just letting the animation carry. Choreography. I can't fucking read. Oh God, my brain. We're skipping it, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. Just because like the animation, again, if you pause at any point, the colors in Solo Leveling are a little flat compared to the shit that's happening in One Piece, Demon Slayer, or JJK, in my opinion. And also, that's just how the fights are in Solo Leveling. There's just a lot happening. They are moving at high speeds. Yes, they could probably do the Dragon Ball Z like faded hand shit to show that they're moving fast, but I think it's just good choreography. Real talk. I still don't know if I'm saying that word right. Anyways, let's keep going.
Experts, which leads to others not understanding the critique or phrase, ultimately leading people to interpret it as something harmful or negative, thus leading to discourse, prompting the casual audience to dismiss the idea entirely, saying
I swear, bro, it's just grown-ass men wanting to fight about something.
It isn't, and there is some value to discuss here. Even before this video, I didn't exactly know what to make of it, and so I did the one thing anime fans never do, and that's my homework. Alongside some reading, the other day I sat down and watched a video from New Frame Plus about the overanimation of Zenless Zero. While One Piece and Zenless Zero go into massively different directions, there are a lot of principles and ideas that they share through the animation process. Before I go any further, I do want to put a warning that everything I'm about to talk about is subjective and opens up avenues for critique or discussion. You do not have to agree, and if you have been enjoying everything One Piece has been doing, then please continue to do so, and do not worry about what the internet has to say. I do not want a bunch of angry Pomeranians in my comment section, just a fair warning. Now in this video, overanimation, to put it simply, was described as motion without purpose. Some ideas that were brought up were tons of extra superfluous movement, a bunch of animation principles stacked on top of each other, big exaggerated movements, but again, it is all subjective. Overanimation is not something that can be measured in consistent objective amounts. It all depends on the project, which is why the critique some people may have about JJK may not equally apply to One Piece.
I mean, bro, with JJK, everything was fucking exploding. I mean, if you got a building that isn't moving while the characters are getting flung across the screen, that shit's gonna look weird. And I feel like with One Piece, It's super appropriate. I mean, what? I guess like when Luffy's involved, shit's like everything is moving because bro's dead ass made out of rubber. And then the rest of the characters are usually like sliding across the floor like they're ice skating. I mean, shit looks fire. Again, what are these grown-ass men complaining about?
With that being said,
it's just people that don't fuck with One Piece. It has to be.
Clarity, distracting motion, and animator
they want some of that
can
toei
be
money
to this conversation. If we take all this and apply ourselves, I think the conversation we want to have about these recent One Piece moments begins to take shape. A lot of the critique
that backstory was sad as hell.
Notably been surrounded around Gear 5. One of the most creative power-ups in recent big hit shonen, as the main character is quite literally embodying the idea of freedom. Being able to do what he wants, fight as he chooses, win as he pleases, opens up an ocean of creativity for Oda, but for animators, this is like hitting the jackpot. I've heard that animating Gear 5 is like one of the favorite things to do around the One Piece team these days, as the imagination is boundless for how these scenes are brought to life. However, it's evident that the boundless ideas may just be reaching a point where it's a bit much. Again, I'm not speaking for anybody, but based off what I've seen regarding these fights, some of the extent in which Gear 5 has been brought to life has not been visually appealing to everyone.
Okay, hear me out. This is going to be a little controversial from my end. I will say, when they first introduced Gear 5, and I'm not talking about when Luffy was like jumping and laughing and all that. I'm talking about when Kaido first looked at Luffy and Luffy looked at Kaido and their eyes were like popping out, and then Kaido like shot the fireball at him. Luffy picked up the ground and then shot it right back. I will say it was kind of hard to understand what the fuck was going on.
Let it be known that I actually have enjoyed it all, but one major perspective I'm lacking is that of a manga reader. As an anime only, the one thing I cannot speak on is how the original context looks versus how it's brought to life. Majority of the time, I would assume that a lot of moments are elevated to an
Luffy throwing lightning
level of quality,
actually
but that may not always be the consensus. Take this moment of Luffy charging at Kizaru. Not only does he interrupt him mid-sentence, but we get a crazy wind-up with some spins, then the haki application before the kick is delivered. However, a lot of manga fans feel that the approach in the anime takes away from the idea that it's supposed to be a speed blitz, meaning that what happened in 10 seconds
that means that boy got blitzed.
In half
that boy got blitzed like shit.
Now here, I don't think is an issue of overanimation. I don't think
it looks so old but also smooth. What do you mean by old?
I think people have an issue with how the wind-up comes together, but rather the direction of the scene and how fast it should be. Which also makes me think that rather than labeling everything over-animated, I think it's important for people to understand what they are trying to critique. A lot of people may want to blame the animation,
bro, something about Kizaru really pisses me off, and I think it's his demeanor or some shit.
Effects, at least. The actual
bro has a resting bitch face. On God.
However, is an entirely different story. This is where the can of worms is opened up, because now we're talking about readability and what people feel is hard to follow. The main scene of Luffy dodging Kizaru and his clones has had a lot of discussion, mainly about whether people can tell what's going on or not. Once more, I say that this is subjective. The one thing people need to accept is that not all action scenes are easy to read. I understand that it's Luffy dodging Kizaru's clones within the giant cloud, but there are people out there that may have had a hard time really getting the full picture of that. Maybe it is a lot going on. Maybe it's a giant skill issue. Who's to say? The fact
Buddy, it is not a skill issue. It is not a skill issue. The animators are eating that shit up.
There is an audience out there that may not like how certain moments are approached, and that's okay. One Piece on average is not over animated. It looks and moves as intended majority of the time.
Facts.
It's just when the dial is turned up to 11, opinions can differ. I think a lot of this can come down to what certain styles of animation people enjoy as well.
I mean, bro, they have Kobe looking like a straight demon. I mean, if the animators got Kobe looking like a demon, I think they're eating that shit up. I will say, I do think some of my favorite animation style by far is Dragon Ball Z. Was it Dragon Ball Z Kai? I don't remember if Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Z Kai were a little different.
Is valid to critique. It's your right to enjoy people like Ota and Vincent and even Yutaka Nakamura, but it's important to come correct when you speak about them.
Controversial topic, bro. My Hero Academia eats.
In hindsight. Speaking of which, Vincent himself had a brief chat about some things over at Toei and his own thoughts, and this overanimation debate made its way to him as well. Naturally, his perspective is understandably different. Putting it plainly, as one guy is literally the god of the sun and the other is literally light. I think this shows that in his mind, you have two insane forces of nature fighting each other, so how could you scale that between too much or too little? And yeah, I can see that perspective. I'm not saying it's the only perspective that matters, but it's kinda hard to put a lid or cap on a scenario like this, because then we start talking about what feels perfect and that doesn't exist. Plus, God forbid we enter the timeline where we start talking about underanimation because a certain episode didn't have a crazy cut, and yeah, I might just cry at that point.
I can't even think of it. Actually, no, I can definitely think of anime that have been like under-animated. If I say an anime got under-animated, or if I want y'all to think of an anime that got under-animated, we're all thinking the exact same thing. There is one anime we are all thinking. 7 Deadly Sins, bitch. Oh my god.
I think what a lot of this conversation is missing is discussion.
But yeah, bro, they did 7 Deadly Sins stupid dirty. Especially the final seasons.
I can see why somebody may have a critique or two about the episode. I also understand that a lot of Gear 5 is surrounded with the idea of Looney Tunes and such, but I don't think we should let that become a scapegoat either. I've been keeping to Gear 5 mainly as well, but this could apply to any of the major moments for the past 5 years. If you have your own critique about anything from Wano till now, please let me know in the comment section down below, because I'd like to believe that none of you are on the same page. All things considered, One Piece is certainly in a special spot.
Bro, the anime community is never on the same page. Truly.
Again, I am no animation genius, nor am I qualified to claim anything as fact, hence why I have been treading on reasonable ice. What is imperative, however, is that we do not allow overanimation to be the term that encompasses all the critique out there. Mark my words, if we let it, it will infect all types of anime discussion in the future, and will be a major disservice to genuine constructive conversation. There are many different pieces that make an episode.
Bro, and God forbid, I just want to like continue his little rant right there. God forbid it affects the actual animators and what companies think of doing for like special episodes or special fights. Because what if the director's like, alright guys, listen, big fight coming up in this very popular anime, but like y'all know what the community be saying, alright, so let's not do too much, just enough. Like, bitch, no, I need you to do the most spectacular, wild ass shit you can think of, truly.
It's important that people understand those pieces so they can isolate the cog they have an issue with within the machine. Situations like this can easily be blown out of proportion, but it shouldn't be so negative. Most importantly, I think it's important that we call out the accusations of AI. Rage bait or not, I cannot express enough how unfair and disrespectful it is to label some of the most powerful hand-drawn work to be conducted by a soulless machine. It creates an extremely harmful narrative that 9 times out of 10 people aren't going to think twice about. It doesn't help that apparently Toei is investing into AI to some degree, but as of right now, it is not in One Piece.
I want y'all to remember this, chat, for the future. Can anyone please let me know in my Discord? All right, go to the link in my TikTok. Find out if Sekiro, or if there's any news about Sekiro using AI in their animation. Like, I really want to know if they're using AI. By the way, chat, if you guys do enjoy the stream, man, drop a like. I really do appreciate it. Let's keep it going.
The animators have been,
because a lot of people are talking about Sekiro using AI in their animation.
Over these next few years, it will definitely be important to stay informed about it, because corporate greed will continue to infect the industry. The one thing I do know is that it will never be right to give validation to rage baiters just because animators end up becoming
the One Piece rage baiters.
Oh, I'm just saying, before you speak, weigh your integrity. With that, ladies and gentlemen, will bring me to the end of this video. As always, thank you very much for watching. By all means, make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the next thing, so till we meet again in the next video.
Also, To Be Hero X, different animation style than usual. Very good anime. W video. Hey, YouTube, if you guys enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.